We're told we've entered the Aquarian age, an era where intuition outweighs instruction and authenticity has become the ultimate form of value. Yet there is a crucial piece missing from this conversation. Carl Jung anticipated this shift over a century ago, not through economic analysis, but through psychological insight. He wasn't studying market dynamics. He was mapping the human psyche. In an era fixated on relentless productivity, endless competition, and constant grinding, Jung presented a revolutionary idea. He declared, "You are not defined by your past experiences. You are shaped by the choices you make moving forward." Here is the paradigm shift. What if generating income today isn't about increasing your output, but about deepening your self-knowledge? What if your shadow, those rejected aspects of yourself, is actually your most powerful creative asset? Keep watching, because the 5 concepts I'm about to explore aren't typical side hustle advice or app recommendations. They're about creating sustainable income from something far more enduring, your authentic truth. Let's establish something fundamental. Carl Jung isn't creating content on social media. He is not selling wealth-building programs. He never traded stocks or invested in cryptocurrency. However, he understood patterns, the fundamental structure of human consciousness, better than most understand digital algorithms today. What Jung provided was a framework for accessing something more potent than any strategy, the genuine self. If there is any legitimate shortcut in our current landscape, it is this: alignment has replaced hustle as the path to success. Before discussing money, we must address wholeness. Jung's 2 central concepts, individuation and the shadow, contain essential insights. Individuation represents the journey toward becoming your complete self, integrating your conscious awareness with your unconscious elements. It is about embodying your truest version, not merely the version that excelled academically, followed conventions, or satisfied parental expectations. The shadow encompasses everything you've suppressed: your eccentricities, your rage, your chaos, your audacious aspirations, your impulse to abandon conventional employment and create street art in tropical locations. Jung emphasized the shadow isn't malevolent, it is simply unexpressed potential. That unexpressed potential often harbors your brilliance. Consider this concrete example: a woman who practiced corporate law, brilliant, incisive, universally respected. Yet privately, she was deeply unhappy. She loved creating cartoon sketches and composing surreal spiritual narratives. After experiencing burnout and leaving her legal career, she allowed herself to draw purely for enjoyment. 2 years forward, she's developed a tremendously successful webcomic series, generating 6 figures annually, entirely, because she stopped concealing her artistic nature and began integrating her playful spirit. That is what occurs when the shadow receives invitation. Here is the transformative insight. When at an epoch where value no longer derives from physical labor alone, we're transitioning from an age of effort for compensation toward an age of alignment, for impact. People hunger for authenticity. They crave genuine humanity. They don't seek perfection. They seek connection. When you've sent your soul thing with these shadow peculiarities, aspirations and everything, you become compelling. Integration generates expansion. Awareness becomes capital, the previous framework, the one insisting we must struggle to earn, diminish ourselves to advance, compete to ascend, is collapsing. Artificial intelligence is automating substantial work. Audiences are developing stronger intuition. Consumers are transforming into creators. Expression has become the new marketplace. When you cease distorting yourself to accommodate the system, you discover you are the system now. Your narrative becomes your approach. Your presence becomes your prosperity. Money emerges as a natural consequence of living fully, not a prize for suffering silently. Before continuing, if you appreciate expanding consciousness and investigating life's deeper dimensions, subscribe to Fractal Wisdom to stay connected. Remain with me because by this video's conclusion, you might recognize your wealth pathway was concealed within your own narrative all along. Now let's examine 5 powerful, authentic, spiritually grounded methods to generate income, not through grinding, but through becoming more genuinely yourself. Fair warning, these may challenge your conditioning around success. That is precisely the intention. The instant you begin dismantling mental constraints, money begins flowing where energy was previously blocked. First, shadow, informed storytelling, transforming pain into expression, that experience you've endured. The heartbreak, the collapse, the dependency, the wounds, the destructive connections, the shame cycle that silenced you for years. That is valuable material. We're existing in a reality where people desperately seek authenticity. Genuineness has transcended buzzword status. It has become a guiding light. When you can articulate your story with consciousness, not seeking sympathy but offering healing, people engage. People invest to hear it, read it, experience it. Therapists are becoming content producers. Survivors are becoming writers. People are developing programs, podcasts, publications, films, even blockchain-based reflection platforms, not from their credentials, but from their depths. What previously remained hidden now becomes signature content. The shadow whispers, nobody cares. The reality under their own limitations. We were conditioned for years that legitimacy required diplomas, titles, and framed certificates validating our existence. However, something radical is unfolding. People are recognizing that information doesn't guarantee transformation. You can possess degrees yet remain emotionally disconnected. You can hold advanced credentials yet remain separated from intuition. You can invest enormous sums in education, yet remain uncertain of your purpose. People are exhausted by this. What we're seeking now is genuine depth, not additional information, but internal evolution, not textbooks, but lived wisdom. That is your opportunity. If you've navigated something and genuinely integrated it, you're qualified. You are a mentor.
10.
Not because institutions certified you, but because existence initiated you.
4.
We don't require
3,
more academics
2,
reciting
1.
presentations. We need individuals
Booster
who
ignition,
confronted
liftoff,
their
Space Shuttle
shadows,
Discovery,
addressed
taking
their
the space
inherited
station to
patterns,
full power for
and
full
can
science.
support others doing likewise.
This is Mission
Your
Control
path
Houston.
becomes your credibility. People are engaging soul, aligned facilitators,
Discovery's roll maneuver is
mentors,
complete. It is
intuitive
now in a
advisors,
heads-down position.
holistic guides, not based on credentials, but based on resonance, on the authenticity in your communication, on the centeredness in your being, on the wisdom you embody. Monetizing your transformation doesn't mean exploiting it. It means honoring it. It means acknowledging that your survival, your awakening, your viewpoint serves as medicine for others. Whether you provide individual sessions, develop consciousness programs, or simply speak authentically online. Remember, your truth suffices. The only qualifications required now are self-awareness, embodiment, and willingness to accompany others as they rediscover themselves, and that cultivates genuine wealth, the kind nourishing your spirit and everyone it reaches. Third, creative transformation, art from essence. Notice how your most spontaneous creative impulses feel energized. That is because creativity is soul communication. It is the unconscious attempting expression through you. In this economy, where automation replaces routine, what remains sacred is originality. People aren't merely purchasing aesthetics, they're purchasing resonance. You don't require mastery. You simply require honesty in expression. This could manifest as handcrafted intuitive artwork, spoken verse, archetypal divination decks, digital imagery from dreams, journals, publications, channeled insights. People recognize when something flows through an integrated heart, and the marketplace reflects that. Your uniqueness, your vision, your metaphors, that is your specialty. Now fourth, micro-content wisdom, broadcasting your frequency. Understand this. Today, short-form video platforms aren't merely spaces for entertainment. They're platforms where people generate substantial income by simply communicating, sharing, and existing. When your voice originates from integration, people recognize, they engage. Even brief moments of grounded, embodied wisdom can transform someone's experience. When you share consistently from service, resonance, and exploration, opportunities discover you. Compensated speaking, partnerships, content revenue, even spiritual guidance. You're not an influencer, you're a beacon, and people notice those illuminating the path. Fifth, intentional community creation, monetizing connection. This represents perhaps the most underestimated income avenue. You don't require thousands of followers. You require genuine connections. If you possess a distinctive perspective, worldview, or lived experience, others resembling you are searching for you. You can establish supportive group environments for self-exploration, virtual healing gatherings, specialized subscription newsletters, compensated community platforms, member-supported content evolving with your audience. This isn't about positioning as authority, it is about serving as reflection. Create environments where people feel witnessed and money becomes a byproduct of that trust. Observe, none of these income approaches involve becoming someone else. They're about releasing who you were conditioned to be and remembering what you already are. What Jung attempted teaching wasn't that we required fixing, but that we required seeing ourselves entirely, illumination and darkness, facade and mystery. That wholeness isn't merely spiritual, it is practical. When you understand yourself, you cease pursuing. When you cease pursuing, you begin attracting. By now, you've witnessed how money isn't merely economics anymore. It is about energy, alignment, and authenticity. Perhaps part of you feels excited, while another part whispers things like, "Who would compensate me for this? I'm not qualified yet. What if I fail? What if I'm too late? What if I'm insufficient?" That is not you speaking. That is your conditioning, your personal unconscious, and deeper still, the collective unconscious Jung described. Carl, Jung didn't merely offer theories. He provided a consciousness map. Within that map exist archetypes, universal patterns inhabiting all of us. Some archetypes facilitate our ascension, others obstruct our potential. If you've struggled monetizing your gifts, you're likely entangled with one or more internal characters, narratives you didn't create, but continue repeating. Today, we'll encounter 5 common abundance, blocking archetypes, and more importantly, discover how to rewrite them. 1. The compliant learner. This archetype declares, follow protocols, execute correctly, obtain approval first. It is perfectionism's voice, awaiting permission, seeking authority validation. This tells you not to launch your program, not to share your art, not to request compensation, because you haven't learned sufficiently. However, mastery doesn't precede action, it emerges through it. To transcend the compliant learner, shift from seeking approval to sharing evolution. Reveal your process. Be human. Be authentic. That builds trust. You're permitted to teach while growing. You're permitted to offer insights while becoming. That is not deception. That is real-time leadership. 2. The silent caregiver. This one's subtle. It is the aspect wanting to support, contain, heal, but it questions, how can I request money when people suffer? It romanticizes struggle and spiritualizes scarcity. However, you cannot give from depletion. Healing isn't costless. It requires time, energy, presence, preparation. Your life force holds value. This archetype must understand money isn't service betrayal. It is sacred exchange, enabling sustainable service. The reframe here is your integrated energy is resource. Allow circulation. 3. The suffering creator. The suffering creator believes authentic creativity requires pain, that genuine expression demands struggle, and money corrupts art. This represents romantic mythology, but dangerous, because it maintains brilliant people impoverished and exhausted. Jung would identify this as shadow projection, refusing to allow the inner child abundance, clinging to drama instead of permitting joy as inspiration. To dissolve this, you must perceive money not as threat, but as means to amplify your art, to grant it reach, to connect with those requiring it. Abundance doesn't diminish creativity, it liberates it. 4. The concealed one. You've been hiding not from apathy, but because fundamentally you believe invisibility offers safety. This archetype learned early that visibility invites judgment, rejection, or danger. So you've maintained small voice, private magic, dimmed power. However, now isn't the moment for diminishment, not spiritually, not economically. The concealed one must become the sacred observer. You can be gentle and visible, you can be tender and courageous. You don't require loudness for visibility, you simply require standing in truth and allowing others experiencing your presence. 5. The excessive giver. This archetype gives continuously, over explains, over delivers, overworks. It originates from unworthiness. It declares, I must prove I deserve receiving. This is exhaustion masquerading as generosity, and it is not noble, it is survival. To heal the excessive giver, reclaim your right to receive, to rest, and to be supported. You don't require justifying prices with excessive bonuses. You don't require answering every message at midnight. You're permitted to give from abundance, not obligation. Prosperity flows through balanced systems. You give, you receive, you breathe. Here is the deeper reality. Money today isn't about credentials. It is about coherence, not about volume but alignment. People don't compensate you for perfection. They compensate you for authenticity. The more you integrate these internal archetypes, by witnessing them, healing them, rewriting them, the more naturally opportunities, clients, and concepts arrive. not because you pursued them, but because you became available for them. And that is the revolution Jung never witnessed, but absolutely anticipated. A reality where internal work becomes external wealth, where consciousness becomes Earth's most valuable asset. Now that you've encountered the aspects holding you back, perhaps for the first time, you're beginning sensing it. This transformation occurring beneath the surface. It is not merely about generating money anymore, but about creating meaning, about designing existence where your gifts become the product. Your healing becomes the evidence, and your energy, when directed intentionally, becomes the abundance magnet. Now that you've made unconscious elements conscious, now that you perceive yourself, the paradigm shifts. So let's discuss living this, actually constructing lifestyle and income around your inner truth. This isn't funnel strategy, it is frequency architecture. First, anchor into core essence. Begin here. What energy does your presence transmit effortlessly? Not the role you've performed, not the job designation, but the actual frequency you bring into spaces. Is it stabilizing? Is it catalytic? Is it mystical, gentle, intense, light-hearted, poetic? Your income becomes sustainable only when your output matches your authentic state. That means anchoring your offerings, your content, your services in that energy, not trends. Ask yourself, if my soul possessed a business structure, what would it be? Then construct from that. No persona, no branding costume, just essence. Essence always resonates. Second, construct a resonant offering ecosystem. This is where structure meets soul. Consider your energy like narrative progression. Some people discover you at the beginning, others enter midway. So what do you want offering them at each stage? Here is a powerful structure many soul-led creators currently utilize: free resonance content. This is your collective brief videos, writing, audio, intuitive wisdom, personal truths, archetypal narratives, not to convert, just to connect. Accessible entry offering, a modest, priced workshop, class, or creative product, allowing people deepening connection, core signature offering. This is the heartbeat. Individual, immersive mentorship, online course, rooted in your deepest transmission, community container. A membership or recurring sacred environment where people can evolve with you. This creates continuity emotionally and financially. You don't require forcing these, just begin with one. Allow others growing as you evolve. Let your business model become psyche mirror, fluid, cyclical, alive. Third, time. Shape your existence for joy and flow. Money without freedom is merely another constraint. So let's reverse the formula. Instead of constructing life around work, construct work around life. Ask yourself, what time am I most energized? How many hours weekly do I genuinely want offering others? What kind of clients or audiences return energy? How much income do I require? Feeling secure, safe, creative. Then reverse engineer offerings matching those responses. No more depleting schedules. No more selling your essence for external deadlines. You're not here for productivity. You're here for empowerment. Fourth, remain inside creativity ritual. Here is something business schools omit. Creativity isn't optional. It is nervous system regulation. It is spiritual maintenance. It is how you maintain clarity for service. Your creativity is your compass. When you cease tending it, you lose direction. So, daily, create space for non-monetized creativity. Write, draw, dance, daydream, shadow journaling, to clear unconscious residue, somatic movement to unfreeze and integrate. Sitting in silence, so your authentic voice emerges. These maintain your magic fifth. Let your evolution guide your expansion. Here is the ultimate truth. Your income will always reflect your self-trust level, and self-trust grows when you cease clinging to previous versions of yourself. The model, the niche, the content style, everything is meant evolving. So allow it. When your internal reality upgrades, let external offerings shift too. Let pricing rise with power, voice deepen with clarity, audience grow with truth. You're not constructing a brand, you're constructing a body of work. What Jung revealed, and what many are finally learning to embody, is that the external reality is merely internal reality echo. The more you integrate, the more you receive, the more you express, the more you magnetize, the more you honor truth, the more existence begins honoring you reciprocally. Yes, that includes money, but more importantly, it includes peace. So here is the invitation now. Don't merely consume this. Let it integrate, let it reshape how you perceive work, wealth, and worth. The old paradigm of hustle, burnout, and faceless labor, that is concluded. We are creating a new economy, one soul at a time. If this journey resonated with you, share it. Let others know we don't require trading truth for survival anymore. Subscribe to Fractal Wisdom and join a collective here to live deeper, not louder. This is the future. Jung foresaw it. We're embodying it. Now it is your turn to manifest it. Go create the existence your soul has been whispering about, and let money follow.